Have you ever felt that no matter how much you try to get him to open up, he stays distant? Or maybe you find yourself bending, changing, or overextending just to get a spark of his attention. What if I told you there's a way to make him feel more deeply than ever, to pull his heart closer without losing a single piece of who you are? Today, I'm going to teach you how to trigger his deepest emotions without chasing, without pleading, and without giving away your power. Stay with me, because what you learn here could completely shift the way he sees, values, and connects with you. And it starts from the moment you step into the room. Confidence is magnetic, but not in the way most people think. It's not about being loud, flashy, or demanding attention. It's about living from a place where you know your value and don't need constant validation. When a man senses that you are secure in yourself, that you have a life full of meaning, goals, and joy, it naturally draws him in. You see, men are wired to respond to energy more than words. You could tell him 100 times how amazing you are, but if your energy suggests doubt, insecurity, or neediness, it will cancel out everything you say. Confidence isn't something you fake, it's something you live. It's in the way you carry yourself when you walk into a room, in the way you speak without over-explaining, and in the way you make decisions without constantly seeking approval. Being confident also means being able to enjoy your own company. There's nothing more attractive than a woman who laughs easily on her own, follows her passions, and makes her happiness a priority independent of anyone else. When you are self-sufficient, emotionally and mentally, a man feels free to step closer rather than pressured to perform or fill a void. Confidence is not about shutting him out. It's about creating a space where he wants to invest, because he sees the value in the woman before him. Another important aspect of confidence is embracing imperfections. A confident woman doesn't try to be perfect for anyone. She understands that flaws are part of what makes her relatable and real. When you accept yourself fully, your strengths, quirks, and even insecurities, you signal to him that he is not responsible for completing you. This creates a dynamic where emotional connection grows naturally without the toxicity of neediness. Confidence also affects how you handle setbacks or rejection. Life doesn't always go as planned, and relationships are no exception. A woman who knows her worth will navigate disappointment with grace, maintaining her standards while staying open to connection. She doesn't beg, plead, or compromise her values to keep someone around. Instead, she models emotional stability and self-respect. This is incredibly alluring because it demonstrates that her happiness is not dependent on him, yet she still chooses to engage and connect deeply. Confidence is magnetic because it allows you to be unapologetically yourself. You are not performing or trying to earn his affection. You are simply living fully with authenticity and self-assuredness. And when you do this, the man you want to reach emotionally doesn't have to chase. It happens naturally. He feels compelled to rise to meet the energy you already carry. He senses that you are a woman who knows her worth, a woman whose life is full, and a woman who can love fully without losing herself. That combination, strength, joy, and authenticity, is irresistible. Emotions are felt far more than they are spoken. And this is where most people go wrong in relationships. Many women believe that if they just say the right words, he will open up, fall in love, or reveal his deepest feelings. The truth is, words alone rarely move a man's heart. What truly touches him is your presence, the way you hold yourself, and the energy you bring into the moment. Being fully present means more than listening to his words. It means showing up with curiosity, empathy, and genuine attention. When a man senses that you are fully invested in this moment with him, he feels safe enough to reveal the parts of himself he usually keeps hidden. Presence is about connection, not performance. It's easy to get caught up in trying to impress him, to prepare responses, or to analyze every word he says. But when you focus on being in the now, truly listening, responding authentically, and engaging with his energy, he experiences a depth of connection that words could never create on their own. Your attention, your laughter, your small gestures, even the way you look at him when he speaks, all communicate emotional significance. It tells him without a single phrase that he matters, that he is seen, and that he is understood. This level of presence is incredibly seductive because it invites vulnerability naturally. Men are often taught to hide their emotions, to appear strong, or to solve problems rather than express feelings. But when they are met with a woman who listens without judgment, who responds with warmth and curiosity, instead of criticism, they instinctively lower their guard. They begin to share their fears, hopes, and dreams, not because you forced it, but because your presence created the right space for it to happen. Being present also means embracing subtlety and small moments. A shared glance across the room, a gentle touch on the arm, a laugh that only the two of you share. These tiny acts communicate far more than a long speech ever could. They create emotional resonance that lingers long after the interaction is over. Presence is magnetic because it shows that your attention is a gift, not a commodity. It makes him want to give more of himself in return, not out of obligation, but because he genuinely feels the connection. Presence requires you to be grounded in yourself. If you are distracted by your phone, your insecurities, or the desire to control the conversation, your energy will signal neediness or anxiety, which pushes him away emotionally. When you cultivate stillness within yourself, when you are centered and calm, he senses that stability and is drawn to it. He doesn't have to chase. He feels pulled in naturally because he experiences a woman who is alive, aware, and fully engaged in the moment. With H, human beings are naturally drawn to mystery and intrigue. We are wired to want to discover, to explore, and to understand things gradually, and men are no exception. One of the most powerful ways to trigger a man's deepest emotions is to create space for him to wonder about you, to think about you when you're not around, and to feel a pull toward the parts of you he has yet to uncover. Mystery doesn't mean playing games or being manipulative. It means being intentional about how much of yourself you reveal at any given moment. It's about pacing the emotional journey in a way that keeps him engaged, curious, and emotionally invested. When you are completely open from the start, sharing every thought, every feeling, every detail of your life, there's nothing left for him to discover. The excitement fades because there is no journey, no tension, and no opportunity for him to feel that emotional chase or connection. But when you leave room for curiosity, sharing just enough to be genuine but holding back the full picture, you create an emotional pull that is irresistible. He begins to notice the little things, to think about the moments you shared, and to feel a desire to know more about you. This subtle tension fuels emotional attachment because it encourages him to invest effort, attention, and thought into the connection naturally. Intrigue also allows a man to feel that he is contributing to the relationship rather than being spoon-fed everything. When he discovers parts of you gradually, he experiences a sense of accomplishment, closeness, and emotional intimacy. He feels as if he is peeling back layers and uncovering the woman beneath, which is far more powerful than simply being told who you are. This dynamic doesn't just make him think about you, it makes him feel deeply and personally, as though he is part of your world in a meaningful way. Creating mystery is also about valuing yourself and your time. You don't need to be available at all times or answer every message immediately. You engage, you show interest, and you respond in ways that feel natural, not desperate. When a man sees that your life is full, that you have passions, friendships, and goals independent of him, it elevates your emotional value. Mystery is a reflection of self-respect. It communicates that your world is rich and that he is lucky to be part of it. Intrigue works best when paired with authenticity. You don't need to fabricate stories or hide your true self. The goal is simply to pace your vulnerability, to share your thoughts and emotions in a way that invites curiosity and deep connection. By doing this, you create an emotional experience that is both exciting and safe, pulling him in without forcing him or losing yourself in the process. Men respond to women who are intriguing, present, and confident in their own lives, and this combination sparks emotional depth that can transform any relationship. Communication is far more than the words you speak. It is the way you express yourself through tone, timing, and presence. When it comes to triggering a man's deepest emotions, the way you communicate can make the difference between connection and distance. Most women think that if they just say the right things, he will respond emotionally, but the truth is that men respond first to how they feel in your presence, and second to what you actually say. Your words are like the melody, but your energy, your tone, and the way you convey your message are the rhythm that makes him feel it. This is why subtlety and intention in communication are so powerful. One of the most effective ways to communicate emotionally is through reflective listening. This means truly hearing what he is saying, not just planning your response or trying to fix his problems. When you mirror back what he's feeling, acknowledging his fears, frustrations, or hopes, you create a sense of being understood. Men often shy away from emotional expression because they fear judgment or rejection. By showing that you are present and empathetic, he feels safe to share deeper parts of himself. This doesn't mean you have to agree with everything he says. It means you validate his feelings while staying grounded in your own. Another powerful tool is asking questions that evoke reflection rather than interrogation. Instead of bombarding him with, "Why did you do that?" or "What are you thinking?" you can ask questions that encourage storytelling and self-expression. Questions like, "What was that experience like for you?" or "How did that make you feel?" Invite him to go deeper emotionally without feeling pressured. This subtle shift in communication creates a space where he wants to open up, rather than feeling like he's being tested. Your choice of words is important, but equally critical is your nonverbal communication. Eye contact, tone of voice, gestures, and even pauses communicate meaning far beyond what you say. A gentle touch on the arm, a shared laugh, or a moment of attentive silence evoke feelings more powerfully than a long speech ever could. These cues signal emotional intimacy and make him feel connected to you in ways he may not even be consciously aware of. Communication that triggers emotion is rooted in authenticity. You don't need to perform or be someone you're not. Speak from your true feelings and perspectives, share stories that matter to you, and express your emotions in ways that feel natural. When you communicate authentically, he senses your sincerity, and that creates trust and emotional depth. The more you can combine authenticity with presence, reflective listening, and intentional questioning, the more he will feel drawn to you emotionally. This is how communication becomes an emotional bridge. You're not just exchanging words. You are creating a space where he can feel seen, heard, and understood, while still respecting your own boundaries and self-worth. Done right, it deepens connection, sparks emotional investment, and allows him to meet you on a level of intimacy that lasts. Triggering a man's deepest emotions doesn't mean giving away all of yourself or sacrificing your boundaries. One of the most important aspects of emotional connection is maintaining your own emotional integrity while allowing him to invest in the relationship. Many women fall into the trap of overgiving, over-explaining, or constantly accommodating, thinking that this will make him feel more connected. In reality, when you give too much too soon, it removes the natural balance and can leave you feeling drained while he takes for granted what you offer. Protecting your emotional boundaries is not selfish. It's essential for creating respect, desire, and genuine emotional intimacy. Boundaries are a reflection of self-worth. When you know what you will and won't tolerate, when you honor your feelings, And when you clearly define the line between giving and overextending, you communicate strength and self-respect. A man is drawn to a woman who has standards and who prioritizes her own well-being. It sends a subtle, powerful message. I am valuable and my time, energy, and emotions are not free to be taken lightly. This is incredibly attractive because it invites him to step up and meet your energy instead of expecting you to lower yourself for his convenience. Maintaining boundaries also means knowing when to step back. Emotional reciprocity is key. If he is not meeting you halfway, if he is closed off, or if he is taking without giving, it is crucial to protect yourself. Pulling back does not mean punishing him. It means respecting your own needs and reinforcing the balance necessary for a healthy, emotionally connected relationship. When a man realizes that your emotional investment is not automatic, he begins to appreciate it more deeply and feels motivated to give authentically in return. Boundaries extend beyond just saying no or stepping away. They are about being intentional with your energy. It's about deciding when to engage deeply and when to preserve your emotional resources. This creates a rhythm in the relationship that is both magnetic and sustainable. Men respond to women who can love deeply without losing themselves because it models stability, confidence, and emotional maturity. It teaches him that emotional intimacy is not a one-sided effort. It is a partnership. Protecting your boundaries does not mean shutting him out. You can still be warm, loving, attentive, and generous, but always in a way that feels right to you and aligns with your values. This balance, being emotionally available yet self-sufficient, creates a magnetic dynamic. It allows him to feel safe, to open up, and vulnerable to connect deeply while respecting your space and individuality. When you maintain this equilibrium, emotional connection is no longer forced. It flows naturally, rooted in mutual respect, understanding, and desire. Protecting your emotional boundaries ensures that you trigger his feelings without losing yourself. You become a woman who inspires deep care, attention, and emotional investment because you are whole, confident, and aware of your worth. This is the secret to creating a connection that is not only passionate, but sustainable and deeply meaningful.